जय जिनेन्द्र।
जय जिनेन्द्र, जय जिनेन्द्र। अरहंत सिद्ध सुर उपाध्याय साधु सर्व अर्थ के प्रकाशी मांगलिक उपकारी है। तीन को स्वरूप जानी रागते भई जो भक्ति काय को नमाय स्तुति को उच्चारी है। धन्य धन्य तुम्ही से काज सब आज भयो कर चोरी बारंबार वंदना हमारी है। मंगल कल्याण सुख ऐसो हम चाहते हो मेरी ऐसी दशा जैसी तुम धारी है। हो मेरी ऐसी दशा जैसी तुम धारी है। मंगलमय मंगल करण वीतराग विज्ञान नमो ताहि जाते भये अरिहंतादि महान। कर मंगल करि हो महा ग्रंथ करन को काज जाते मिले समाज सब पावे निज पद राज। अब चैप्टर 3 का मंगलाचरण। सो निज भाव सदा सुखद अपनो करो प्रकाश जो बहुविधि भव दुख निको करिए सत्तानाश। Exposition of miseries of mundane existence and bliss of liberation. So we were discussing what were the root cause of miseries. So we'll be discussing from 3 points of view. First one is from karma's bondage point of view. This is the first discussion that we are undergoing right now. Then the second B point would be from the point of view of modifications or the state of existence, like one sensed, two sensed, three sensed, four sensed, and the third one C would be general nature of miseries. So from three angles, we will be discussing the root cause of miseries. So we were on to page number 67. Okay. First paragraph we had completed. So now we will continue from there, further so long as the object remains one page earlier. You are on 68, we want to go to 67. Yes, from here on. Further, so long as the object remains in contact with the senses. So one major point that we discussed yesterday, that they are these people who are used to sensual pleasures, they are so much engrossed in the enjoyment of the object of senses that even they are not afraid of death. And we had seen 5 examples. Elephant in regard to touch, desire to touch. Then the second one was desire to taste. The third one about bee was desire of smell. The fourth one was desire to see the color. And the fifth one was listening to the music. That was in case of deer. So in all the 5 cases, in these examples, we have seen that they were not afraid of death, but at that cost also, they want to get engrossed in the sensory pleasures, sensual pleasures. So this is the state of mundane existence, that these people, they are not afraid of death. Even at the cost of death, they want to still enjoy those sensual pleasures. And presently also, if you see newspaper that such and such people stole money from ATM and then they were caught certain people did some molestation and they were caught. So you see, at the risk of getting caught, being imprisoned for life, spoiling their career, spoiling their family and their family life, in spite of all these, they are so much addicted to those sensual pleasures that they don't want to leave it. Even in case of drug addicts and all, you see that once they form that habit, they are not able to withdraw or get rid of those bad habits. So sensual pleasures are such that even if they know that death is inevitable, they are not afraid. So that was something that must have appealed all of you. So sensual pleasures are not the actual pleasures. The actual pleasure come from connecting with the soul, you know, eternal bliss. And that is what matters, and it also gives you satisfaction. All these sensual pleasures, if one desire is fulfilled, you get another desire, then that desire, when gets fulfilled, you get another desire. So there is no end to desire. But when you experience yourself, when you experience your soul, you get a level of satisfaction wherein you don't want to indulge in any of the senses. And that is what we should take from this understanding, that although the sensual pleasures looks very attractive, but in actual those are not real happiness. It is all very false happiness. So the real happiness will come from the soul, and when you connect to the soul, you get real happiness, and that real happiness carries a level of satisfaction, so that you are not uh, attracted towards the sensual pleasures. So this was what we understood yesterday. Now taking this further, we will read from here, page number 61. Uh, Rajeshri ji, you start. Further so long.
Further, so long as the object remains in contact with the senses, till then somewhat knowledge of that object continues. Later on, only its remembrance in the mind remains. By the lapse of time, the remembrance also fades out. So he makes efforts to keep these objects under his control and frequently indulges in them. And the sense can enjoy only one object in one time. But he wants to enjoy many objects and rushes towards the other objects and leaves it also, rushes towards the other objects, thus behaves ravenously. In this way, whatever means come to his mind, he adopts them. But all those means are false, because firstly, availability of the desired object is not under one's control. It is extremely difficult. And if by chance, according to the rise of karmas, the desired situation is also met with, then by the strengthening the sense of power of enjoying the objects does not increase. That power increases only by increasing the power of knowledge and perception. But this depends on the shayupsham of karmas. Someone whose body is strong, he is seen possessing such power in a lesser measure. Someone whose body is lean and thin, he is found possessing such power in greater measure. Therefore, by strengthening the senses through the meals, etc., nothing is accomplished. By decrease in passions and on getting shayuksham of karmas, if the power of knowledge and perception increases, then according to the power of enjoying the object increases. Further, he tries to gather the sensual objects, but it does not remain associated for long time, or mostly the company of all the desired objects is never met with. So this anxiety continues, and by keeping those objects under his control, he very frequently indulges in them, but they do not remain under his control. Those separate substances change independently on their own or depend on the rise of karmas. Such bondage of karmas take place on the evolution of suitable auspicious disposition, pious thoughts, and later on they come to the rise which is clearly seen even on making several efforts without the nimitt of karmas, the external objects are not met with. Further leaving one object, he indulges in other object, thus behaves ravenously. What can be achieved from it? As a voracious person requiring a quintal food gets a particle of food, can his hunger be quenched? Similarly, can the desire of one who is desirous of obtaining all the objects be satisfied by obtaining only one object? Happiness is not possible without the end of desire. Hence, this effort is false.
Stop. So you see, they were discussing what we discussed just now only before reading this topic, that one desires gets fulfilled, then he gets another desire, then he fulfills that one, and then he gets another desire. So the desire doesn't stop. Even by consuming what you desire, still your desire doesn't stop. You have other kinds of desire, and this vicious circle continues, and the soul frequently indulges in them. Then he feels that if his strength increases, bodily strength increases, then he will be able to uh, enjoy the sensual pleasures more. And so uh, he puts in all the efforts to strengthen the power of senses. But the power of senses only increases when the power of knowledge and perception increases. But that depends on the sharp sum of karmas. Okay. They give an example that somebody whose body is strong is seen possessing such a power in a lesser measure. And someone who is thin, he is having immense power. So that proves that the uh, power of the senses is not dependent on the body. It depends on the uh, level of knowledge and perception that you have. Therefore, by strengthening the senses through the meals, etc., nothing is accomplished. By decrease in passion and on getting sharp sum of karmas, if the power of knowledge and perception increases, then accordingly the power of enjoying the object increases. 1 minute. My battery is down. I'll just connect it to the 1 minute. Sorry, I'm. Yes. So, so he feels that by strengthening the sense, 1 minute. So he feels that by strengthening the power of senses, he will be able to uh, enjoy the sensual pleasures more. But that is not true. Only when your knowledge and perception increases, and there the instrumental cause would be karmas, absorption of karmas. Then accordingly the power of enjoying the objects increases. Further, he tries to gather the sensual objects, but it either does not remain associated for a long time, or mostly the company of all the desired object is never met with. So one principle that we come out of this is that then what is the point in having a desire? When our desire doesn't get fulfilled according to our wishes, then what is the point in expecting those things? You know, and if you are able to realize this, then you will be the happiest person, because the whole world suffers because of expectation. We have expectation from spouse, we have expectation from children, we have expectations from our business. So wherever the expectations are there, there is going to be misery. Okay. So the best part is when you are content in yourself, when you connect with your soul, you get satisfaction. So the desire automatically does not rise. And that is the chief cause of happiness. So this anxiety continues, and by keeping those objects under his control, he very frequently indulges in them, but they do not remain under his control. Those separate substance change independently on their own. So we had studied about the independence of substance, independence of attributes, and independence of modification. Those are very handy in any of the principles of Jainism. If you tell me what is one thing that you want to teach in Jainism, then I would teach that the independence of substance, one substance does not do anything for the another substance, one attribute does not do anything in another attribute, and one modification cannot do anything in the next modification. So all three are so independent that if you understand this and if you make a decision on this, you will be the most relaxed person in this universe. Such is this principle. So those separate substances change independently on their own or depend on the rise of karmas. Such bondage of karmas takes place on the evolution of suitable auspicious disposition, pious thoughts, and later on they come to rise state which is clearly seen. Next page. We are on to the next page. Even on making several efforts without the nimit of karmas, the external objects are not met with because they are not in our hand. You may wish that your kid should come first in the class, but he has his own destiny. You know, whatever efforts you put in, whatever pressure you put in, whatever has to happen has happened. It doesn't happen according to our wish or desire. So the best thing is you make conscious effort to accept whatever is happening. If you are able to accept and absorb, then you will be the happiest person. But what we feel that we can change, and that is the chief cause of our misery. Further, leaving one object, he indulges in other object, thus behaves ravenously. What can be achieved from it? As a voracious person requiring a quintal food gets a particle of food. So the desire is to have quintal of food, but he gets only a particle of food. Can his hunger be quenched? No. In scripture Atmanusashan, whose commentary is written by Pandit Todarmalji, this example is given that the well of desire is so deep and so big that even if we put all the materials available in this whole universe, still it will be a small part of that well. Now the desires are full of well, and the object available is only 1% of that. So now just imagine what will be your share of that object. So never the desires can get satisfied. Similarly, can the desire of the one who is desirous of obtaining all the objects be satisfied by obtaining only one object? No, it is not possible. Happiness is not possible without the end of desire. Hence, this effort is false. Which effort? For the effort that you are making to satisfy your desire is false. So you see the example that we read yesterday about that physician. First he diagnoses the disease, and then he convinces that patient that you are having this disease, and then he shows that you whatever efforts you have done so far are all false, and then that patient becomes ready to adapt whatever the physician or the doctor says him to do. So this much is the job of the physician. Okay. So similarly here, happiness is not possible without the end of desire. Hence, this effort is false. The effort of fulfilling desire is false. Now, there are few questions coming up. 1, 2, 3, 4 questions are there, and then this topic will come to an end. Okay. So 1, 2, and 3. 3 questions are there. So let's read this portion. Shashikala ji, you read. Unmute yourself. She is not there, I suppose. Subhaji, you read. Question from the question.
No, I will. Question, no? Many jivas are seen becoming happy by adopting such means efforts. How do you say it to be totally false? Answer. The jivas do not become happy, but fallaciously consider themselves to be happy. If they have become happy, how will there remain the desire for other objects? As on getting the disease cured, why one should like to take other medicine? Similarly, on end of misery, why one would like to have other objects? Therefore, if by enjoying the object, the desire ends, then we may treat it to be happiness. But so long as the particular object is not enjoyed, till then its desire persists. And the moment that object is enjoyed, at the same moment the desire of enjoying the other object is seen developing. How can this be treated as happiness? For example, some voracious poor person got a particular particle of food and feels happy. Just move up, ma. Hello?
Yeah.
A particle of food and feels happiness by eating it. Similarly, this great greedy person got one desired object and he feels happy to obtain it. But in real sense, there is no happiness. Shall I continue or you'll answer?
Yeah, you continue the end up to end of this topic.
Okay. Question. What is wrong if satisfaction, what is wrong if one satisfies desire by enjoying the objects one after the other, similar to the person who satisfies his hunger by eating the corn bit by bit? This may be accepted provided those corn bits get accumulated, but when the next bit is eaten, by then that the earlier bit gets driven out. How will then be appetite be quenched? Similarly, if in the knowing process, the knowledge of objects gets accumulated, then the desire may get fulfilled. Consuming, one second, it's moving. Hence, in the present moment, one second, without consuming the desire of the commotion does not end, and without the end of commotion, how can it be called happiness? Further,
I think you have missed 2-3 lines. You have missed 2-3 lines. You just come again.
Okay, sir. One second. That
but
screen
when
moved.
He starts knowing the next object,
no, the screen has gone up for me. That's little down, please.
Aditi ji? Yeah, right.
The knowing, if the answer from the beginning, just I'll repeat it fast. This may be accepted provided those corn bits gets accumulated, but when the next bit is eaten, by then the earlier bit gets driven out. How will then the appetite be quenched? Similarly, if in the knowing process, the knowledge of objects gets accumulated, then the desire may get fulfilled, consummated. But when he starts knowing the next objects, by then the knowledge of the object known earlier vanishes. How will then the desire get fulfilled? Without consummation of desire, the commotion does not end, and without end of commotion, how can it be called happiness? Further, the enjoyment of even one object takes place under the influence of wrong faith, etc. Therefore, the bondage of karmas being the cause of forthcoming many miseries takes place. Hence, in the present moment also, if it is not happiness, nor is the cause of happiness in future. So it is assuredly misery. The same is stated in the Pravachana Sara as below. Safaram, meaning happiness derived through sense organs is dependent, amenable to disturbances, terminable, cause of bondage, and fluctuating. Hence, it is assuredly misery in disguise. In this way, the efforts made by this mandate being should be known as false. What is the right effort then? When the desire comes to an end and the enjoyment of all objects continues simultaneously, then this misery ends. But the desire comes to an end only when the moha, delusion perishes, and simultaneous enjoyment of all the objects is possible. Only an attainment of kevala jnana, omniscience. The means of these is the attainment of samyak darshan, right belief, etc. And the same should be known as the right means. In this way, the Shaivsam of Jnana Varanya, Darshana Varanya also becomes cause of misery owing to nimitta, association of moha, delusion. Knowing of
Question.
question. Knowing of the objects did not materialize owing to rise of jnana varniya and darshana varniya karmas. Hence, regard them to be cause of misery. Why do you say Shaiv Sama as to be cause of misery? Same doubt I had. If not knowing be the cause of misery, then the Pudgalas, materials, should also suffer from misery. But root cause of misery is the desire, and the desire is evolved owing to the Shaivsam only. Oh. Therefore, Shaivsama is said to be the cause of misery, but in the reality, Shaivsama also is not the cause of misery. The desire of sensual objects which evolves due to moha, delusion. The desire alone to be known as the cause of misery.
Stop.
Okay.
So now we will move on to the third karma, Mohniya karma. So we were discussing about Jnanavaran and Dashnavaran. So Jnanavaran karma and Dashnavaran karma along with Moh are the chief cause of our all miseries. Okay. So still the discussion on the objects, desire of objects was continuing, and the first question that we took, many jivas are seen becoming happy by adopting such means, efforts. How do you say it is to be totally false? The jivas do not become happy but fallaciously consider themselves to be happy. So when you are consuming sensual pleasures, you feel to be happy, but in reality, it is not the actual happiness. If they have become happy, how will they remain the desire for other objects? Very logical answer that if you have a desire and if you get that particular thing, then you must be happy. But still you are not happy. You are still longing for, craving for another object. That means their happiness is not there in those objects. That is the first thing that you have to decide. As on getting the disease cured, why would one like to take other medicine? So if your disease is cured, you will not take medicine. But since you want other medicines, that means your disease is not cured. Similarly, on end of misery, why one would like to have other objects? Therefore, if by enjoying the object the desire ends, then we may treat to be it happiness. But so long as the particular object is not enjoyed, till then its desire persists. And the moment that object is enjoyed, at the same moment the desire of enjoying the other object is seen developing. How can this be treated as happiness? So in the previous paragraph, we read the last line, happiness is not possible without the end of desire. Okay. Hence, this effort is false. So similar discussion is continuing. For example, some voracious poor person, beggar, got a particle of food and feels happiness by eating it. Similarly, this great greedy person, not only greedy person, but great greedy person means intense greedy person. We are on to page number 68 now. Aditi ji, if you can backtrack and bring it to page 68. Yes. Yeah. So in the middle, we are there in the middle. Okay. But so long as the particular object is not enjoyed, till then its desire persists. And the moment that object is enjoyed, at the same moment, the desire of enjoying the other object is seen, developing. How can this be treated as happiness? Slightly up, for example, yeah, some yes. For example, some voracious poor person get a particle of food and feels happiness by eating it. Similarly, the great greedy person get one desired object and he feels happy to obtain it. But in real sense, there is no happiness. Why there is no happiness? Because still the desire for other objects still persists. So there is no happiness. Happiness is something where you get totally satisfied and you don't ask for anything else. That is the definition of happiness. So these sensual pleasures are associated with anxiety, and anxiety means misery. So to get the real happiness, what is the characteristics of a real happiness? Non-anxiety, nirakulta. Nirakulta is the characteristic lakshan, sukh of happiness. Okay. So these sensual pleasures are all with anxiety. So there is no real happiness there. Next question. What is wrong if one satisfies his desire by enjoying the object one after the other? Similar to the person who satisfies his hunger by eating the corn beat by beat. But that doesn't happen. Okay. The moment you eat one bit and the moment you eat another bit, in between the first one has already gone. So it doesn't get accumulated. And since it doesn't get accumulated, so the desire keeps on manifesting. Okay. Similarly, in the knowing process, the knowledge of objects gets accumulated, then the desire may get fulfilled, consummated. But when he starts knowing the next object, by then the knowledge of the previous object vanishes. How will then the desire get fulfilled? So it is a futile exercise to get the desire fulfilled by consuming those sensory objects. Without consummation of desire, the commotion does not end. And without the end of commotion, how can it be called happiness? Yes. Further, the enjoyment of even one object takes place under the influence of wrong faith. So now they are coming on to the chief cause, that because of wrong faith, you feel that there is happiness in the sensory objects. But in reality, there is no happiness there. My happiness attribute is in myself. How can it be in the sensory objects? So because of wrong faith, he feels that there is happiness there, and that is the chief cause. Therefore, the bondages of karmas being the cause of forthcoming many misery takes place. So because of this desire, the bondage of karmas takes place. Hence, in the present moment also, it is not happiness, nor it is the cause of happiness in future. So it is assuredly misery. The same is stated in Pravachan Sar Gatha verse number 76. I am reading the meaning. See, there are 5 points given here. Happiness derived through the sense of organs is dependent. So that is one. How are these sensual pleasures? These are all dependent. So long the object is there, you are getting happiness, but that means your happiness is dependable. The second point is, it is amenable to disturbances. The first one is dependent, paradhin. Second is amenable to disturbance. Means you cannot continuously consume one object, So it is all with hindrances, disturbances, okay. So Bada Sahit is the second point. Third one is terminable, vinashik. It gets
No,
destroyed.
sir, excuse me. Second one, Hindi, what you said, can you repeat, please?
Bada Sahit, Bada.
Bada Sagi.
Yeah. The third one is vinashik, terminable or destroyable. Then the fourth one is cause of bondage. Cause of bondage is the fourth one. And the last one is fluctuating. Okay. It is not always in one flow. It keeps on increasing or decreasing. So there is not a regular flow of happiness. Hence, it is assuredly misery in disguise.
Is that Hindi word is there for those two?
Fifth one.
Fourth and fifth one, please.
So fourth one is vinashik. Fourth one is
third
bandh
one
ka,
is vinashik, sir.
Fourth one is bandh ka karan hai.
Okay, bandh ka. Fifth?
Fifth one is visham. Visham means it is with increases and decreases. The increases and decreases. So it is not stable. It is unstable. Okay. So these are the 5 things. So this type of sensual pleasures in reality is misery. Okay. So these are the 5 logics that are given there. Why sensory pleasures is all misery only, because of these 5 limitations of sensual objects. In this way, the efforts made by the mundane being should be known as false. So whatever this fellow makes effort in by way of consuming sensual pleasures is all false. The desire never gets satisfied and new desires crops up. And this fellow is always suffering from misery. What is the right effort then? This is the very important thing between chapter 2 and 3. So in chapter 3, they are giving you the solution. What is the right effort then? तो सच्चा उपाय क्या है? Okay. When the desire comes to an end and the enjoyment of all objects continues simultaneously, then this misery ends. But the desire comes to end only when moh, delusion, perishes. And simultaneously, enjoyment of all the objects is possible only on attainment of omniscience. Okay. The means of this is the attainment of samyak darshan, right belief, etc. And etc. means right belief, right knowledge, and right conduct. And the same should be known as the right means. So we come to the conclusion that what is the right effort then? So first you get rid of delusion, and when the delusion gets perishes, then you become partially happy, and that happiness keeps on increasing, and there comes a time when you manifest omniscience knowledge, and that is the time where you get 100% bliss. Okay. And when you get 100% bliss, then there is no desire, and then you are the happiest person. In this way, the Shayapsham of Jnanavaran and Darshanavaran also becomes cause of misery owing to Nimit, association of Moh. So only Jnanavaran, Darshanavaran alone cannot become cause of misery. But because of Moh, those two becomes a cause of misery. So first we should get rid of Jnanavaran, Darshanavaran or the delusion. What we should get first rid of?
Delusion first.
Yes, first you have to get rid of delusion. The moment the delusion goes off, the same moment the intensity of passions, those passions which were a cause of not getting the right belief, that goes off. Anantanubandhi Kashai goes off. And that is the time that partial happiness manifests. Okay. So you become really happy. Last question. Knowing of the objects does not materialize owing to the rise of Jnanavaran, Darshanavaran karmas. Hence, regard them to be the cause of misery. Why do you say the Sayapsham as to be the cause of misery? Answer. If not knowing, right, because of the Jnanavaran karma and Darshanavaran karma, there are certain things that you are not able to know. Like example, now I cannot see what is behind me because my knowledge is limited, is what is ahead of me, that only I can see. My eyes cannot see what is there facing my head. Okay. So not knowing be the cause of misery, then the matter Pudgal should also suffer from misery, because the matter does not know, because it does not have knowledge. But the root cause of misery is the desire, right? And the desire is evolved owing to the Shayapsham only. This desire gets evolved owing to the Shayapsham only, Shayapsham of Jnanavarana and Darshanavaran. That means some portion of Jnana is opened up, and that opened up portion is the cause of desire. Okay. So desire is evolved owing to the Sayapsham only. Therefore, Sayapsham is said to be the cause of misery. So first thing is Jnanavaran and Darshanavaran is not the cause of misery, but Monia is the cause of misery. Then they say that desire is evolved only because of the Sayapsham only. Then they say that in reality, Sayapsham is also not the cause of misery. The desire of sensual objects which evolves due to more delusion, that desire alone is to be known as the cause of misery. So ultimately we conclude that the root cause of all misery is the desire, and that desire is due to delusion. And because of delusion, you feel that these sensory objects are bringing happiness to me, and that is the delusion. So the chief cause is, yeah.
Excuse me. Right? How come Shayopshama, Jnana Varna and Darshana Varna Karma
So
will
first
lead to
tell me,
desire?
what do you mean by Sayapsham? I'll tell you in
Subsidence come destruction.
what? Repeat
Subsidence
again.
come destruction.
subsidence come destruction. That technically you said, but in practical, what it is, it is
It
the
is covering the Jnana Varna and
no, it is not
Mm.
covering. Sayapsham here means the portion that is not covered by Jnana
Okay.
Varna Karma,
Yeah.
the open portion through which
Okay.
your knowledge is now manifesting.
Okay. Yeah.
That
Yes.
portion, that portion is the Sayapsham.
Okay.
And because of that Sayapsham, the desire evolves. So Sayapsham is considered to be the cause of misery, but in reality, Sayapsham also is not the cause of misery. The desire of sensual objects which evolves due to moh, delusion.
Like in what way Shayapshama of Jnana Varna and Darshana Varna karma leads to misery? Ji?
So because of that the knowledge part that is opened up, right? Through
Okay.
that part only, you are able to know the objects. And when you know the
Okay.
objects, then the desire rises,
But I can see a lot of objects, but I don't have desire on all the objects, no ji. Only in certain objects I have desire.
So certain objects you have desire, but why that desire is there? Just because you are
That is
knowing
because
it.
of moha. Oh.
Because you are knowing those objects, right? Now, supposing I'll give you a very practical example. Earlier, you were not rich, okay? So you never thought of buying a car. But the moment you become rich, you can afford a car, that desire has come into you. But a beggar will not have a desire to own a car because he's not having the money. So as and when our our wealth increases, our desires also increases. Okay. So similarly here, that was an example. Now we come to the principle. The desire of sensual objects which evolves due to more delusion. So first, initially they said Sayopsham. Initially they said Jnanavar and Darshanavar are the cause of misery. Then they said Sayopsham is the cause of misery. And then in reality, Sayopsham also is not the cause of misery. The desire due to moh, okay? That desire alone is to be known as the cause of misery. So
Thank you,
ultimately
ji.
we come back to the delusion only. Because of delusion, you feel that there is happiness over there. But in reality, there is no happiness there. The quality of attribute or happiness lies in our soul only. Our soul is full of happiness. But due to delusion, we look for happiness in sensory objects. That is the chief function of delusion. Delusion leads you to get indulged in those sensory objects by believing them to be the cause of happiness.
So
And
can I
because
ask
of your past impression, even today you may say that I now understand this, but still my craving for sensual objects does not go, right? I may read, I may understand, but still those cravings are there because in the fourth stage of spiritual development, all the five senses objects are there. It does not go. When you attain fourth stage, you are a samyak drashti, you are a right believer. But still, the desire for sensory object is still there. So, what would be the cause? Because you have a correct understanding now that there is no happiness attributes in these sensory objects. So, why do you indulge in those sensory objects? So then the reason is that your delusion has gone, but still the conduct charitra monya is still there. Conduct deluding karma is still there. And because of that, you are craving for sensual pleasures. So in the fourth stage, the sensual pleasure does not go. Gradually, when you enter the fifth stage of spiritual development, there is a partial abstinence of these sensual pleasures. And when you become a monk in the sixth and seventh stage, that is the time that you get rid of all kinds of sensual pleasures. Okay. So this is the way that we go ahead in the path of liberation. But the chief cause, the root cause of all misery is the delusion. Because Jnanavaran Darshanavan in itself is not a cause of misery. But along with moh, they are a cause of misery. So everywhere the principal agent is the delusion or the moh. And because of moh, you believe happiness in sensual objects, and that's why people are after those sensual objects. You know, these people, they work for 16 hours. Initially, they study for 16 hours a day, 20 hours a day. They don't go anywhere. You know, they are also workaholic and studious, just because they know they want to have a good package. So why they want to have a very good package in the first place? Because they believe that with this package, I will be able to gather all kinds of sensual pleasures. And because of that, you know, they are after money only. The whole universe is like that. Because of delusion, they feel happiness in outside objects. And because of that delusion, they crave for those happiness objects, and they feel that with money we can buy these sensual objects. So they are after money. Okay. So this is the whole cycle. So the chief cause in the whole cycle is the delusion. If you get rid of delusion, the first level of passion goes off. Anantanubandhi Kashai. Along with that, Anantanubandhi desire also goes off. So now you have desire, but not the intention of desires. You know. Now there is a example given in some Jinvani I have read, that even the desire for moksha, you know, we all long for getting liberated. That is also a desire. So at certain level it is okay. But when you go in the higher stage of spiritual development, then that desire does not remain. Desire to get liberated does not remain, because now he understands everything, that the moment will come, I will get liberated. And before that time, even I putting many efforts also, I will not get liberated. So they are very relaxed and calm and composed, you know. They just try to focus on their self, and everything else happens automatically, voluntarily. And they don't have any role to play in that, you know.
Ji, excuse me.
Yeah.
Right, if you have a desire to read scriptures,
Yes.
then that will also become attachment.
That will, so initially when you are in the lower stages, that desire is quite justified, because you are in the lower stages where sensual
Okay.
pleasures are, you know, looking very attractive to you. So at that point of time, desire to read scriptures is a good thing. But when you
Okay.
become a monk, so at that
Okay.
level, that desire is also not desirable. So it
Okay, thank
depends
you,
on
Ji.
which stage you are. Now,
Yeah,
if
thank you.
because at this stage, if you leave those desire for reading scriptures, then what you will
Okay.
do? Because there are
Right,
three
what?
kinds of disposition. Either it is auspicious or inauspicious, and the pure. So pure is something that you have not manifested. So you have only two options now, either auspicious or inauspicious. So if you leave the auspicious thing, then you will automatically get involved, indulged in inauspicious thing, and that will be a chief cause of you to get to land in hell, you know, narak and nigod. So
Okay.
so intentionally you should be in the auspicious stage initially at the lower level. But as you climb the spiritual ladder, the ladder of spiritual development, then those gradually those desires also goes away.
Sir,
Yeah, thank you for. Yeah, go on, please.
Yeah, Priyanka ji, you were having
yeah.
some question. I sorry I didn't connect that time.
No, that's okay, sir. Jai Jinendra, sir.
Yeah.
So the question is like Shayopsham, I thought like was the part that is not covered, the part of the soul that is not obscured by Jnanavaran and Darshanavaran,
Yes, correct. You are
right?
correct. Right.
But that that part that is not covered wouldn't that help us reflect on the true nature of our soul?
True,
And
true,
would,
true.
but so then how can that cause us to want us to have desires? Because if we are having that part which is pure and gives us
It is
the
not pure. It is not pure, but it is a means to manifest pure sentiments. It is a means. Because right now we have that knowledge only, no? We have that
yeah.
knowledge only. So that knowledge, if you apply in understanding the nature of soul, then it will be a cause of happiness. But if you uh, like as I given an example that people are mad after earning money packages, and so they study 20 hours a day, and they don't even go to the temple or read any scriptures or listen to any scholar, nothing in their life. They are only after that mad race that I want to excel in my academics, and with that I will get admission in a good college and I will get a good degree. Then I will get a good job in a good company, and with that I will get a good package, and with those package I'll be able to gather all the sensual pleasures. The whole circle, you understand?
So
So
that knowledge that we are using,
yeah, so
that that soul's potency, that capacity of the soul to gain knowledge,
hmm.
that part we are using to acquire different kind of knowledge
Yes,
with the aim to get sensual pleasures, but
right,
that same
right.
capacity we can
And,
go
and what
towards.
would be the chief
Okay.
cause for that is the delusion.
Mm.
Because of delusion, you feel that happiness is coming from those objects. So here when you read the scriptures, so Acharyas tries to explain you that there is no attribute of happiness in those objects. Your attribute will be in your soul only. The soul is full of happiness. But not realizing this and realizing that the sensory objects are the chief cause of happiness, you get yourself indulged in those sensory objects, and that
Okay.
the chief cause is again delusion. So
Okay.
first you
So,
need to get rid of delusion. So once the delusion goes away, then you understand where is happiness, where is not happiness. So even if you are indulging in sensory objects, but you know at the back of the mind that these are not my uh, source of happiness, but still because of your weakness, because of charitra monia karma, you indulge in 5 sensory objects, and that is very predominant in the 4th stage of spiritual development, where there is no abstinence, no sanyam in your life. That is the 4th stage. So the sensual pleasures are same kind. You put a enlightened soul and an ignorant soul together, the craving for sensual objects will be the same. You cannot recognize a enlightened soul by just seeing his outer activities, because it's more or less similar to an ignorant one. But
mm-hmm.
but his understanding has changed. He understands that this is not the right source of happiness. He understands this. But because of his weakness, because of the charitra monia karma, conduct deluding karma, he is not able to withdraw himself from those sensual objects.
Okay, sir. So
So that
one
that is
more.
the
Yeah.
tragedy. And there the people, where the people put in efforts, they try to put in efforts to not to get indulged in these sensual objects. 1 minute, huh? I'll
Yes, sir.
just open up the door and come back. So generally in the path of liberation, people, like by and large, those who are Jains and they understand this religion, and where they go wrong is, they first try to avoid the sensual pleasures. They feel by abstaining this thing, I will be doing some religion. But in actual, the religion only begins when you get rid of delusion. So with delusion, no religion can be manifested. So first stage would be to get rid of delusion, and that is the fourth stage. And at that stage, still you will be indulging in sensual objects, but that understand. So still you will be indulging in sensual objects, but that is because of your weakness. Your belief has become right, but as far as conduct is concerned, you are not able to withdraw from those sensual objects. That is the fourth stage. Now, when you move on to the fifth stage with constant practicing of discriminative knowledge, your inner purity increases and the level of passion gets reduced. Now, at that point of time, your strength, you will develop some strength and you will be able to let go some of the sensual pleasures. That is the fifth stage. And when you attain the sixth and seventh stage, then there will be complete abstinence of all the sensual pleasures. So the monks does not get involved in any of the sensual pleasures. They don't have a scene. They don't have a scene in their life, But as a householder who is in the fourth stage, his belief is right, absolutely right, correct belief, but still is not able to withdraw from sensual pleasures.
So, sir, householders can go only up to fifth stage of spiritual development.
Women, no? Women.
Men also, sir.
Men also,
householders.
like householder. Yeah, householder is up to fifth stage. Right.
Yeah. And sir, just to backtrack a little bit, sir, yesterday you said something like, when Jeeves are born into like human birth, and as in the Jain Kul, and when they are getting access to the Shastra and like, they are doing spiritual, they don't go to Nigod. Is that something that I understood correctly, sir?
So if the bondage has not happened earlier, before that, then you will not go. You will not bind anything for Nigod, even Narak also you will go, But if the bondage has happened earlier without understanding these things, then you have to go. Even manifesting right belief also will not stop from you to go there. But at least that can happen, that if you have done a bondage of seventh hell, then it can get reduced to first hell, like as in the case of Shrenik Raja, he had bounded of life in seventh stage of hell, but because later on he manifested Samyak Darshan, and with that intensity reduced to the first hell, and the duration was 33 sagar, which is a very long period, but it got reduced to 84,000 years. So that can happen, but the state of existence cannot change. Once you are bound, you have to go there. Now, supposing you have bound a life in dog, so you will still become a dog, but you will become a dog in a film star's house, in Ambani's house. So there you will get all the good treatment, but still you will be a dog. So like that.
And so just to remind ourselves, what you had mentioned, there are 3 periods in a person's lifespan, when the Ayu karma gets bonded. So, sir, what are those periods?
Not 3 stages, I'll tell you. I will give you an example that if you have a lifespan of 81 years, okay? So the first time that you will have a chance to bind Ayu karma, that will be at age 54, 2/3. Then whatever remains, 27 remains. So out of that, again 2/3. Okay. So that will be 9 years ago. Then again 3 years ago. So similarly, there will be 8 instances where you can bind karmas, Ayu karmas, for your next life. And if nothing happens in these 8 chances, then just 48 minutes before your death. Okay. So in the last 48 minutes, you will be binding the karma for your next life. So we always insist the person who is dying, let him hear Nomakar mantra or some bhakti or something like that. So even if the bondage has not happened earlier, he will get a good life. So that is the whole logic.
Okay, and sorry, sir, I'm taking a classes time, but last question, sir, can you just quickly give an example of how Jnanavaran and Darshanavaran were discussed as a cause of misery? I didn't understand that bit, sir.
So see, the Jnana comes function is to block your knowledge, right? To the extent the Jnana karma is there, so that part, the knowledge is not able to manifest or express it, right?
Yeah,
The one that is opened up, that is called the Shayopsham.
corruption.
Okay. So Shayopsham knowledge we have right now. And with that knowledge only we are understanding this. Okay. And with the same knowledge, you can apply it in your profession, business, MBA, CA, whatever. Right. So then it will be a total loss. But if you understand these scriptures, if you understand these concepts, if you understand this principle, and if you are able to understand it, you will be able to apply in your day-to-day life.
Okay, sir.
Then your knowledge becomes a means for your happiness.
Okay, sir.
But if you put that knowledge to use in getting sensory knowledge or the business knowledge or any other knowledge, then that knowledge is wasted. So even getting a human birth, it's not easy to get a human birth. It's a very rarest of rare things. Still, you, because of your past auspicious karma, you got a human birth. But now in this human birth, you have got a chance to break these cycles of birth and death, right? So if you put right use to your knowledge, then you will be able to block that cycle and you will get out of this cycle and you will get liberated very soon.
Okay.
But if you don't use this knowledge to right use, then again, next time when you will get a birth in human form is again a very questionable thing. No one knows. It's a very, very long time. And even if you get a human birth, but if you are born in a non-Jain family, then also you don't have any chance. And again, if you are born in a Jain family, then access to this knowledge is very rare, you know. There are so many Jains, but how many does studies like this? Very few, very few. In terms of percentages, if you put total Jains in India are around 0.40% of the total population. Now, out of that 0.40%, how many are doing this kind of intense study? Very few. So the probability, the ratio keeps on decreasing. So this is one of the rarest of rare things that we have got opportunity. And now if you put right use of your knowledge and time, okay, our age is also fixed that we are going to live so much only. Not a single second can be increased. It is all very fixed. Now, if you understand this, then you will get liberated. If you don't understand this, then again, you will be in that ocean of transmigration. And we never know when we'll get another chance. So Todemalji said in Moksha Marg Prakashak that ab sab tarah se avsar aa gaya hai. Means you have got all the good associations that is required to get liberated. So now is the best time to get into the path of liberation, and the end result would be liberation. Okay, any other
Thank you,
questions?
sir.
So now we move on to this, the next karma, monia karma. Misery caused by rise of monia karma and release from it. It is very interesting. So I would like you to read first this one, and then next week we will discuss this. It's a small topic, but it is one of the most important topic because our first target would be to get rid of darshan monia, right? So monia has two parts. One is darshan monia, that is faith deluding karma, and the second one is charitra monia karma, that is passion, conduct deluding karma. Okay. So first we get rid of darshan monia, and then charitra monia will go on its own in due course of time. And that is the reason that why a right believer in the fourth stage still indulges in sensory objects when he clearly knows that there is no happiness in this. And that we already discussed, that because of his weakness to not able to concentrate on the self, he has no other option, but he has forcefully, he gets involved, he gets indulged in forcefully in this sensual objects, even though the desire is not there, but it is not in his hand. So this faith deluding karma, darshan moh, is very, very important. So I'm not beginning this right now, only few minutes are left. So what you can do is you read this topic thrice, at least thrice, and then we will cover up in the next class next week. So you will understand it very nicely. And if you are able to understand this 2-3 pages only, you will be in a different league altogether. Okay, so this is very important. So you read 2-3 times, and if you have a Hindi version of Mokshma Prakashak, or I can share a soft copy, then you read the Hindi one also, because some of the things we connect through Hindi also. If we are not able to understand it properly in English, there is a limitation to translation, but still this quality of translation is very good. This is done by Pandit Hemchandra ji. You know, this translation was done in the year, I think, 1992. So 8 and 24, 32 years ago. And still this translation is quite good compared to what we read in Tattva Gyan and Vitrag Vigyan and all. So comparatively, this is good translation. But still, as you know, 32 years is a very long period. So every 10-15 years, the terminology changes. Some words get extinct and some words, new words come into use. But all those are there in the dictionary. But, you know, in the common parlance that we speak, we use some kind of words for a certain period of time. And then this word change and new word comes in place. So this keeps on happening on a continuous basis. So this translation is still good, but some of the words we can always replace with some modern words that are being used in the common parlance. Okay, so with this, we end today's class, and I'm giving you homework to read this misery caused by the rise of monia karma and release from it. And then there will be first one is darshan moh, and the next one will be charitra moh. Charitra moh is quite big. So maybe the next first class we will be doing only darshan moh, and then of course charitra monia will go on. Okay, so this is where we end today. If you have any questions, we can still take up. 1 or 2 minutes are left. Otherwise, we end. निज निधि निज में बताई, यह अनंत उपकार है, उसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना सत बार है, उसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना सत बार है। 9 बार 9 का मंत्र गिनेंगे। जय जय।